Video. There's something that's been weighing on my mind. I'm seeing some patterns. I'm noticing some patterns that require some deeper understanding, some deeper knowledge. I'm seeing how certain things are done in our society. I'm seeing how women and men are relating. I'm seeing that a lot more knowledge needs to be in place for things to work. I'm beginning to see how you can invest in someone and not really pay attention to how your results look. Life is all about results, right? So you could be in a relationship and not understand that you're not being served in that relationship. So oftentimes we stay too long. We will stay welcome in a relationship. When I think about the idea of men and women, the concept of a man being a woman, being with a woman for a long time, for a long-term relationship, is so important, because when you give yourself to another being and say to that person, I make you responsible for the person that I will be for the next 50 years. That's a huge task. And sometimes we start this task without having all the details. Sometimes we start this task without meeting the person. I've seen relationships where people start on this journey without having all the tools. Before one can embark on the journey of a lifetime, you must first embark on the journey of self. You must look at self first. Understand who you are first. Understand what value you bring to the marketplace. You see, you can't ignore that until you've gotten to a point where who you are is clear in your mind. It's very hard to assume that you can be of value to someone else. You must understand the textures of your life, the parameters, the limitations, the beyond of your life. You must understand the trajectory, the learning arc of your life. Mistakes are made every single day. I make them too. But I make sure my team talks to me about what I'm doing right or wrong with respect to any situation I'm facing. But I want to address something, and that's how men behave at the beginning of a relationship and what that means. You see, sometimes men are not paying attention to the details. I know someone right now who is going through a relationship where things are falling apart. And these are things that can be corrected. So we're talking about just simple communication. Just communicating the right things at the right time to the right person can change your life. Like, we ignore communication, but you have to communicate who you are to your partner, to your mate, to your potential husband or wife. They must know who you are. They must come to an understanding of who you are. You cannot assume that they know. They're not in your brain. They're not the same person. They're not your sibling. They were not born from the same womb as you. So this is a totally different person you're dealing with. So you must understand that they're not like you. They don't think like you. They don't want to be you. They are themselves. They exist and will exist by themselves, with or without you. So you must respect them from the start. Not talking to a woman doesn't make any sense for an extended period of time. Like, I've seen this happen so many times to where women are put on the back bench until the man is ready. And I've seen it where women don't even talk to the man, period, until he comes to correct, right? So we have this war going on, right? But there's so much love in between. There's so much to gain from just understanding each other and knowing that you can get past this communication gap. There's so much beauty on the other side. So why not sacrifice the time to learn? You have to learn what's happening. See, oftentimes I find women learning these things before men come to the table. Women are already there. They know what's happening. You know how he talks. Or last time he texts you. You know how he feels. You know, to have the ring, might have the ring. They know what it feels like to not get the late night calls, or you're not checking in all day long. You're not checking in sometimes. You're not telling him what you have for lunch. Women want to participate in every aspect of your life. They want to know every time what's going on with this dude, what's happening. And they want to know that you count in their life. As busy as my life is, my wife needs to understand that at the top of that list is her. At the top of that list is her life. And she wants me to guard that with all of my wisdom and understanding. And so I want men to come to a place where when you engage a woman, when I mean engage means using your words to pull her to the side. If you pull a woman to the side and you want to talk to her, you want to bring her into your fold, you want her to hang with you for a few weeks or months so you can check her out properly. You can't treat her like dirt. You just can't do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. It will never work. It cannot work. You got to pay attention to everything you do. You got to clinically get close to her and find out what she needs, what makes her thrive, what makes her grow. If you don't do these things ahead of time, you're not petitioning your case properly. You're not letting her know that you're very serious. See, when you're trying to buy a house, right? I work with some very good people when it comes to real estate. I see myself as a real estate investor, but mostly I do real estate for family. I want to just acquire wealth and be with my family. It's not so much about me flipping, or. But anyway, when you're trying to make a sale, as a seller, you're trying to sell a house. There are three people involved. There's you, the seller, there's the buyer, and there's the bank. For everybody else, we know there's agents and stuff, right? But there's three main people. You, buyer, and bank. Seller, buyer, bank. Somebody told me a long, long time ago, for this situation to work, you, the buyer, must give the seller what they want. And then turn around and buy the two. Let me show you how it works. Seller wants to sell a house for $500,000. He wants to sell the house for $500,000. You want to buy the house for $500,000. Now, on one scenario, if you pay or offer to buy the house at $550,000, it closes the deal much faster because many people may not be able to jump to $550,000 to buy that same house. You've given this guy extra $50,000 on top of what he's asking for. That's an offer you cannot refuse. You close the deal much faster. Everybody's happy. Now, here's the deal. If you don't do that, you're going to spend so much more time viewing the house, talking about the house, dreaming about the house, praying about the house. You see, all you're doing is going around the plan. You're going around the game. Deal makers come in, offer a lot more, jump the queue, and close the case. You got to deal with closers. You got to close the deal. When it comes to women, you must close the deal. Now, here's something else that can happen. If you make two people happy, this is what I do. When I see a situation where a guy wants to sell a house for $500,000, I don't argue the price. You see, if you argue the price, you're going back into the rabbit hole. You're basically going backwards to the crowd of those that want to go see the house. See, open house I don't do, because what you have there is a bunch of losers looking at a house, figuring out how to bring the score down. No. Take the score up. Let the players hang. Take the score up. Let the prices go up. And the kids jump off the course, right? So when the big boys want to play, we take the price up. Then the shot falls off, then you get the court, right? So that's how we roll. And this is something you got to do in everything you're doing. When I approach the situation, disciplining women, I shake it up, raise the price up, I see who's classy. Those not classy drop off, and those are the classy hang. See, when women are waiting for you to approach them, so many men can come to the table, but the classy ones are going to last. Treat them right. Treat them right. Spend some time. Eric Benet did a song called Spend My Life With You. You gotta spend some time. For them to really feel you, you gotta spend some time. You see, back to the scenario of real estate. If you have a situation where the seller wants to sell something and you argue the price with him, what happens is you get into this tug of war with the buyer and the seller. But if you say yes to his price and put a little cherry on top, what happens is the bank, he can go to the bank and say, listen, he's accepting my price. I want you to make sure the terms are good. So number one, no down payment. I want us to close in 30 days, not 45 days. And all I will pay is closing costs. No down payment, all I pay is closing costs. So here you are negotiating with the bank, telling them how you're going to run this deal. And what gave you that power is that you give the seller the price he wanted. Always give the seller what he wants. He opens up the two doors for you. See, when you give the seller what he wants, you control him and you control the banks. If you argue with the seller about price, the banks control you. Appraisals come in. You're wasting everybody's time. Dude doesn't want to sell it for. He wants to make a profit. So when it comes to women, you have to understand that this has got to be mutually beneficial for both of you. And as a man, you got to take a step. You have to find the woman. That's when the grace comes. That's when the flavor. See, he says he will find a man. He will find a man who will find a woman, a wife, obtains favor from God. So it's not just that you have done this act, but you need to obtain favor from it. Listen, if you don't pray or have her pray for the favor to come, favor's not going to come. You got to get this into her mind. She got to pray for that favor to come down into your life. The spiritual side of this. Right? But back to the point I was making, right? Men have to stop making women wait to do the right thing. Do the right thing, man. Just do the right thing. Come on. Have a good evening. I'm feeling the night. You see how it is?